Big question for you, Bucks.
I don't have a question, I have a statement.
Oh, Jesus.
I went to the MCG on Saturday afternoon and I watched the best player to ever pull on a Collingwood Guernsey go about his business, and that's Scott Pendlebury. I don't think there's any doubt that he should officially be seen as Collingwood's best player. So that's in its history. Talk about Coventry, Rose, Tony Shaw, Peter Dacos, Len Thompson, Wayne Richardson, Colliers, Dick Lee way back when, Sidebottom and Swan of the modern era. There's no one that goes close to this bloke. By the end of the year, he will be 100 games clear of all but 3 players to ever have played 100 games, 5 seasons clear of everyone but Coventry, Shaw and Sidebottom.
Well, that's high praise considering you're in that conversation, mate. And obviously you can't vote for yourself, but it's an amazing statement. It is an amazing statement. It's hard to disagree with, isn't it? Because you sort of think this bloke could be the first bloke to play 450 games.
Is he 393?
He's at 393. Only 6 players have ever played 393 before. KB in his 393rd kicked 4 goals and had 19 touches. Yeah. Brent Harvey had 27. Pendles had 30 and kicked 2.
And was tagged.
And in his first quarter, had his 9th best quarter of his entire career.
Really?
And so sitting here and watching this is what we saw against an Adelaide side that we rate and we saw in the form ladder going well. He's not the fastest, he's not the strongest, he's not the fittest, but I reckon he might be the smartest player that's ever played. And just these little switches, and it's De Goey this time that he finds a way. He had 12 touches, kicked 2 goals and set the other 2 up for Collingwood. Once again, just a little block here, and then he goes back and sweeps the contest. De Goey goes through. The ball ends up coming back. Just holds his position. He's not always hunting the ball. If the ball comes and finds him, then he's just got the ability to lower his eyes and find the right option. And this one here, just out of the middle, the ball goes past him initially. Now, his ground level stuff is not quite as good as it used to be, but that quick speed to get on it, and then the ability just to lower his eyes and find the contact. But it's not what he does with ball in hand that necessarily sets him apart, I think. It's what he does when he's basically setting up his teammates. So midway through the second quarter, this first set, it shows what we expect of Pendles. He's always setting up, he's always guiding, he controls and monitors the corridor and arranges the 17 other chess pieces for the team's benefit, and he always finds himself in corridor position. He's not a guy that's running out to the boundary and wasting his energy. He was off midway through the second quarter, and Adelaide, this was one of the few times that Adelaide were able to put a few little short, uncontested marks together. Pendlebury's off. That would not have happened if he's on the field. So it's not just about what he does with ball in hand, it's his impact on the total game.
From a GPS point of view, where would he rank with the other midfielders, if they'd say Collingwood's got 6 midfielders?
So Sidebottom would be one of the... Like Lipinski ran 15.5 Ks on the weekend. Steele on a wing would run about the same. Pendles would sit on about 13, 12.5, 13 Ks. And he wagon wheels at centre circle, out that way back, out there. He just runs efficiently and effectively and has maximum impact on the game.
So there it is, a definitive from one of the contenders who can't put himself in it. You and I can. So we may or may not agree, but there it is.
We'll discuss afterwards, guys.
Yeah, with a beer in hand. But hard to argue. Maybe the man at the end of his career that might challenge him is Nick Dacos, who was outstanding on the weekend. I watched it all, boys. I thought it was great. I had another little ancillary question. Can you be best on ground if your kicking efficiency is 29%? He was really good. Like, don't make no mistake. He got the 10 votes.
10 votes from the coaches?
Yeah, he did. Both lots of 5. But this was his lowest rated game for the year from a champion point of view. There's 145 players, I did some homework, 145 players that have had 20 kicks or more. That's the lowest kicking efficiency of the whole 145. I'm not saying he didn't have a massive influence on the game and he was in the best 5. Can he be best on ground if you kick at 29%?
Well, when you have 20 handballs, that most are effective as well. I mean, 41 touches, 21 of those kicks and to go at 29. So he's hit target with 6 of them, and either been ineffective or clanged on the others. I think he's getting more ball inside. And when you get ball inside, you probably don't get the chance to, although he only needs a step or two.
Do you want him getting that? Do you want him getting there? Career high clearances, might have been career high.
Doesn't he have to without De Goey in there?
I think De Goey's a bit sore, and he had to go forward with the forward setup they had. Since De Goey and Mitchell had gone out 3 weeks ago, it's been Nick Dacos and Pendlebury back in the middle with Jack Chris and young Lockie Sullivan. I reckon Collingwood's midfield looks as dynamic and is as effective as it's been in the last 3 weeks with those 2 players out, funnily enough.
The fact that he got 5 coaches vote, well, he got 10 coach votes, but clearly 5 from his own coach shows that he's happy enough, Gaz, that
they'd be happy
to
with
go
40,
for the kicks.
He'd be happy with 41 possessions every time.
Oh, what drama there was at the MCG. Beautifully called by Joey. Those 2 teams. Extraordinary how 2 teams can be so close at the end, and poor old Crows seem to suffer every time. And isn't it amazing how footy just throws up a different rule almost every week, which we then analyse within an inch of its life? How far did he run? We get the lab involved, and should the umpire have paid it or not? But in the end, the Pies keep on winning.
They did what they've always done and continue to do it, and that's win the close ones. And they found a way again. It was a terrific game. Really enjoyed it. Full credit to Adelaide. I thought they were terrific, but the Magpies showed some signs, and we'll touch on it. But they are absolutely back to their best, the way they are playing. And the one thing that I love, you can see the big midfield numbers, but I really enjoyed Jordan De Goey's return and playing basically as a permanent forward.
Would you say they're back to their best if they hadn't got the result?
Yeah, I would still think they are playing close to their best. Yeah, their profile is really strong, and I think they're playing some really good footy.
And they've probably got as much as any team of people to come back, haven't they? When you look at the certainly in terms of numbers, maybe not absolute quality, but Elliott, Howe, Mitchell, Mychek, McStay, McCreary, all potentially to come back.
Yeah, and that's going to pose a question for Craig McRae, what he wants to do with Jordan De Goey. Does he want to try and keep him forward and continue to evolve? Because you're always looking to evolve as a team, even when you are the reigning champs. And we've seen Sidebottom go to half-back, and we know how well Crisp and Dacos are playing as the inside mids at the moment. So what do they do with De Goey? Because I thought his performance on the weekend was sensational. He had the 26 disposals, he kicked 2 goals too, he set up another couple. And what he does, and we've spoken about this before, but he's got that dual threat, Kingy, where he can win contests at ground level and he can take defenders to places where they don't want to go. He can go up the stoppage, he can work them over up the field, and then we also know he's got the ability, like we've seen back to 2018 when he kicked almost 50 goals playing as a full forward, he can come out of the goal square and break your heart that way. So his 10 score involvements were the most on the field. He's only done that 6 times since 2021. He had 26 scoreboard impact points, and this was the final play. I love how they just kept him deep. It was a bit of the old Dustin Martin, get your best player inside 50, leave him down there, let him go to work. 18 of his 26 disposals were in the forward half. Only 4 players for the round had more than that in the competition. I like the look of it. I think it's something they should persist with for a while, even when they do get some soldiers back, and they can always throw him on ball later in the season.
They don't need him.
They don't need him.
They don't need him
That's
on
right.
ball. They need him forward. They need contest winners where it impacts the scoreboard, and that's in the forward 50 because they're well serviced at stoppage. And I guess that takes us to Nick Dacos. And I just wonder what the plan was against Nick Dacos from Matthew Nicks, because countless times in that first half he was unopposed at stoppage. I'm looking at him thinking, who's going with him? Who's running with him? Who's got the biggest migraine in the game right now? Who's taking him? No one's taking him. I'm thinking, well, OK, let's see how this unfolds. Let's see how this tactic goes. Maybe they've got someone holding off in playing the spy role. And as soon as he steps centre forward, they lock on. No, that didn't happen. So he has 10 clearances, and they kick 5 of their 8 goals at half-time from clearance. And you go, well, isn't that a ridiculous plan? Nick Dacos unopposed at stoppage. I couldn't believe it. And it's not as if this has snuck up on us. I mean, 28-15 it was at half-time, 5 goals, 1 to 1 goal, 2. It just blows me away, Joey. You have to have a plan against this guy. Otherwise, you're in trouble. And Pendlebury was the other one. So they got the switches done perfectly between Dacos and Pendlebury and caused enormous confusion at forward 50 stoppage. I mean, Pendlebury was enormous early.
And that's why I wouldn't upset the apple cart at the moment. Scott Pendlebury, over the last 4 weeks, is the 8th highest rated player in the competition. A bloke that everyone thought after 4 or 5 weeks his season, this might have been his last year, is flying. Jack Crisp is having an absolute purple patch. You've spoken about Dacos, career high clearance and contested possession again on the weekend. You see what they're doing. That's why I think maybe to see if they can get even better and keep De Goey inside 50.
I think they're both great for each other. Like Dacos has an unbelievable ability to get it to Pendlebury and Pendlebury back to Dacos. They wax more than any other players in the competition, but they win the ball. 20 clearances between the pair of them for the day.
And
unbelievable.
There's no reason for him to even think about retiring at the moment, is there?
No, I think what we've seen, absolutely, he should continue next year.
He's also become a great statesman, I reckon, off the ground. He's saying some interesting things about the game, more than he ever has before. So that's something else we're getting from Scott Pendlebury.